you guys doing? Bro, it's been a very hot, it was a beautiful day, don't get me wrong, but it's been a really hot one, you know what I'm saying? It was a real sizzler. I was out there working today, boy. I felt like an egg on a frying pan, just a sizzling away. Alright, but how's everybody doing? I'm going to do a little lesson today while I'm driving home. I don't care if anybody watches it or not. Alright, I titled the video, Anger and Hatred Leads to the Dark Side. Or did I title it, Hatred and Anger Leads to the Dark Side? One of the two. I think it means the same thing. But I wanted to just give a few brief comments and a lot of preachers and pastors that I see on the internet, real life, wherever, especially like them Baptist preachers, like the Protestants, like Pastor Steven Anderson. He's a really good example. All right, they teach nothing but anger and hatred. The group I used to be with the Hebrew Israelites. They teach nothing but anger and hatred. I mean, they teach a lot of goods. It's not all anger and hatred. Let me get that straight. It's not, but it's anger and hatred. So I'm saying, if you claim to be a man of God and you claim to be a preacher, a pastor, a leader of the sheep, all right, you should not be teaching all this hatred. Everything coming out your mouth is you want to see somebody get destroyed. So that's death and destruction upon your enemies. Look, guys, Jesus enemies. Bless those that curse you. Love your enemies. He clearly taught that. You can't get around it. But I see people like Pastor Steven Anderson. I don't mean to pick on Pastor Steven Anderson. That's low-hanging fruit, guys. You know, but he just wants to sling around the F word every 2 seconds. A bunch of Fs. It has a couple G's in that word also, in case you guys don't know. He's always, you know, God's going to rain fire on them just like Sodom and Gomorrah. And we all know that Jesus rebuked James and John, his disciples, when they asked Jesus to rain fire and brimstone down upon the Samaritans. Jesus rebuked them for that, for wanting to destroy their enemies. Jesus rebuked them for that. And like I said, I don't like the gay stuff. I don't like Pride Month. I don't like that gay stuff. You got a gay pride parade. They're walking around with a cod piece and an inflatable dildo flotilla. Like, you should get arrested. All right, I do agree. There should be, you can pass laws, but you don't have to go out here wishing death on people, because that's not the spirit of Jesus. There's other ways to go about it. And it's another thing, if somebody who cannot control their anger, you're like a low IQ primate caveman beast man to me. Is somebody who can't control their anger. Somebody who always easily gives into their anger. Because it's easy to give into anger and to go on a hateful tirade on the internet. You're going to let all this, you have all this hatred and anger build up inside of you. And then you get on the internet and dump all that hatred and that anger out onto everybody else. And then, you know, it could cause other people to become miserable and hateful and angry. Now we're surrounded by a bunch of miserable son bitches. And I don't like the spirit of misery. Alright? I don't like the spirit of hatred and the spirit of anger. Alright, that's the ways of the dark side. That's the ways of the Sith. I'm trying to be like Obi-Wan Kenobi. Really? Pastors there's some Christians will say, oh, Star Wars is of the devil. No, you're of the devil saying that. Star Wars is holy and sacred. What you talking about? You just mad because you're not like Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan, I know he's a made-up character, guys. As an archetype, really, that's what you should strive to be, is the archetype of a Obi-Wan Kenobi, or Jesus. Well, some people may not understand what some people think Jesus is a murderer, and he destroys all of his enemies. So I'm using Obi-Wan Kenobi as a mental substitute of what we're supposed to be like, since we don't know what's going on. But Obi-Wan Kenobi is all calm, cool, and collected. He don't let nothing get to him. He don't get rattled too easy. He doesn't get pissed off easily. If you get angered easily and triggered easily, that means you're also easy to manipulate. If I know that you are easy to anger and you get I can manipulate you very easy. I can put out fake news stories and all kind of stuff. I control you like a puppet on strings. All right, people who are easily given into anger and hatred are easier to control and easier to manipulate. That's something easy to tap into. I can easily tap into your anger and feed off your hatred and anger and run psyops on your goofy ass. Alright? Easily. But like I said, guys, this is not some kind of groundbreaking information. I'm very disappointed. I mean, I was part of the problem too. I used to go out there and just wish death upon everybody. I was worse. I was with the Hebrew Israelites. And we kept the Old Testament. And we said, nope, according to the Old Testament, you're going into slavery. If you're not an Israelite, you're going into slavery. We're going to bash your babies against the rocks. That's what Jesus would do, right? No, it's not. That proves we're not supposed to follow the Old Testament at all. At all. Now, there are some wise words in the Old Testament. Proverbs, for example, Ecclesiastes. But we're not supposed to follow that crazy-ass Old Testament. But you got, like, fire and brimstone pastors. They're always going to the Old Testament to justify their hatred and anger. They always go to the Old Testament to justify them wanting to kill their enemies. Because really, what a lot of pastors and preachers doing, they're using the Bible as a weapon. To persecute their own personal enemies and people who they do not like. Obviously, that's what they're doing. Or maybe they was raised up in the church and they was raised to believe that all Catholics are going to burn in hell forever. Back to... I'm just getting on Pastor Steven Anderson. He's a scapegoat today, guys. I like Pastor Steven Anderson. And I pray for him every day because I think deep down inside he's a really good guy. And he's just all this hatred. News came out he was beating his children with electrical cords. Like, that's what happens. It's like, if you got a pastor who's constantly screaming, and nothing wrong with cussing, but constantly hooting and hollering about how everybody needs to be destroyed. All Catholics are going to burn in hell. Burn, burn, burn. Everybody die, die, die. If your pastor acts like that, he's got some very dark demons in him. You know what I'm saying? That man got some demons. He's got issues, mental problems. And that's the type of guy that beats his children with electrical cords like Pastor Steven Anderson. According to the witnesses, I don't want to bear false witness, but I heard the testimony of his daughter. He beat everybody with, spare the rod, spoil the child. It didn't say spare the electrical cord. God dang. Electrical cords? And they said they were thick ones too. Extension cords. Thick extension cords. There's some 12 gauge wire. Pastor Steven Anderson's a psychopath. But I think deep down inside he's a good guy. He's got to get rid of all that hatred. It leads to the dark side, guys. Like when I was with the Hebrew Israelites, going out there just wishing death upon your enemies and everything. It sounds cool. Like going on a crusade. That sounds cool. It sounds cool to go on a crusade. Everybody wear the cross. We're going to don the cross. We're going to go on a crusade. We're going to take Jerusalem. We're going to set up a church. And we're going to get rid of the Muslim temple. We're going to get rid of the Muslim temple. We're going to get rid of all the Jews. We're going to set up a church and a Jesus amusement park with a Jesus roller coaster. I want a Jesus roller coaster on the Temple Mount. I think it's a good idea. All right, this is me. I like to have fun, guys. And I like to let loose. You know what I'm saying? Now, wouldn't it be just the coolest thing ever that you could ever possibly imagine? Then instead of building a temple on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, build a giant Jesus roller coaster, and you get free snacks. You get free cookies and free juice and snacks, and no Jews and no Muslims allowed. That sounds like a blast. But look, guys, Jesus never said to go on crusades. He never said to go kill people in his name. All right? Am I against crusades? No, I'm a pragmatic man. I'm a pragmatist. That's who I am. Well, for the most part. I'm only an ideologue concerning a few issues. Okay, and I can change them as I go. All right. But I'm a pragmatic man. So even though Jesus clearly said, love your enemies, don't hurt anybody, don't do harm to no man. But sometimes I guess you got to do what you got to do type of thing. You know what I'm saying? So if you guys want to go on a crusade, even though Jesus never said to do that, I'll help you guys out. I'll be a good neighbor and I'll help you. He did say be a good neighbor. And helping your neighbor out on a crusade, I would say that's being a good neighbor. But Jesus never said to go on crusades and kill people in his name. He never said to do that. Jesus never said to threaten people with death and destruction. Jesus said he prays that everybody has life. He prays that everybody be saved. All right? You got these pastors and preachers, like, they're wishing hell, like threatening people with hell. Maybe hell's real. Maybe it's not. Maybe we should. I'd rather. I'm not gonna take no chances, type of thing. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna be out here constantly threatening people with hell. Do as I say or burn forever. If you disagree with me, you're gonna burn forever. Like Pastor Steven Anderson, him and all of his Baptist little buddies say that all Catholics are going to burn in hell. All of them. That's like 1 billion people. He said 1 billion people are all going to burn in hell forever. That's evil. That's a dark side. That's the teachings of the evil, dark Sith Lord. That's some goddamn Palpatine would teach. Everybody's just burning. Everybody's burning and dying. I thought Jesus represented hope and peace. He came to give us hope. Not make everybody scared and burn forever. Alright, so I do not think that anybody's, like, just because somebody disagrees with me, I will never say you're going to burn in hell because you have a different ideology or religion than me. But a lot of Christians think like that. Protestants will say Catholics are going to burn in hell. Catholics may or may not say Protestants are going to burn in hell. Depends on which Catholic you're talking to, I suppose. But no, ain't nobody, no, that's wrong. That's evil, that's wickedness. Okay? That's you hating your brother. You want to see evil things happen to your fellow man. That's evil. That's fucked in the head. You're a psychopath. That's what I say. I say, nay, you're a psychopath. Alright? When Jesus was on the cross, about threw a goddamn ball joint out on that one. When Jesus was on the cross being crucified, he prayed for the very people that had him crucified. Now, if anybody deserved to burn in hell forever and ever, it would be the people who killed the Lord. The Nicene Christians say Jesus is God. So they killed God. If anybody deserves to burn in hell forever and ever, it's the people who killed God. Not somebody who's like a homo or something. Well, maybe they should burn too. I don't know. Or maybe, an adulterer. But you're supposed to pray for the adulterer. But what about the people that killed Jesus? They got to burn in hell, right? No. Jesus prayed for the people that crucified him. He said, Father, forgive them. They do not know what they are doing. So he prayed for them because of their ignorance. Because if they knew he was the Son of God, they would have never killed him. Just like if the homos knew the truth, they'd never been a homo. Well, some people are born gay, though. That's the thing. But most of you people y'all just weirdos. You're not even real gay people. You're just a sexual deviant. That's what most homosexual perverts. All right. But yeah. So Jesus never, like, you're not supposed to go out here wishing death upon people. You're supposed to say, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. Say it with me, guys. Please, I'm about to get out of here. This is my last words. Like, this is the last thing. Remember. Next time, before you go wishing death and destruction on somebody, remember what Jesus said. He said, Father, forgive them. They do not know what they are doing. Do you understand that? Father, forgive them. You're supposed to pray for their forgiveness. Not pray that God kills them, psychopaths.